the relationship itself must be allowed to be alive. It must be allowed to expand. And so what you're looking for are not promises, because no one can keep any of them anyway. Right. So you're not looking for promises. What you're looking for is enough compatibility that you have a pretty good chance of getting pretty good momentum going, where you will not lose yourself in the relationship. What you're reaching for is the freedom to continue to decide. Yes. I want the freedom to continue to decide. And in some ways, a relationship in and of itself, as from your perspective of it, sort of belies that, because it sort of says, I'm going to get so hooked on you that then I won't have the freedom to not be hooked on you if I should choose to be. It's a freedom thing. It's a control thing. Yes. That you're feeling.
Yes.
And you can get around that or get to the heart of it by understanding that the only thing that anybody can control is their own relationship with who they are. That's what you're reaching for all the time. If we were entering into a relationship, standing in your physical shoes, it is our promise to you that our relationship vows or determination would go exactly like this. So far, I like you pretty good. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to do my best to stay in alignment with who I am, which means this relationship has a really powerful probability of not only surviving but thriving, because I'm going to do everything that I can do to be in alignment, which means I'm going to look for the best in you and in everybody. And I'm not going to talk hardly ever about things unwanted. And I'm going to keep myself so tuned in that I have source energy flowing through me, so that my capacity to love is going to be more than almost anybody you know, because it's going to be steady and consistent. And my capacity to love you is not going to be contingent upon anything that you do. I'm leaving you out of that part of the equation. I'm taking full responsibility for how I feel. And I'm going to practice it for a while. I've been practicing it for a while, and I'd like to practice it for a while with you, but I can't make any guarantees, because I want to be in alignment. I just want to be in alignment. I want to know that I can be in alignment without holding someone else hostage to standing on their head in lots of different ways in order to keep me in alignment. So what I'm saying to you, potential lover of my life, is that there are no deal breakers. There are no deal breakers. There is nothing that you could ask of me that would break this deal, because my relationship with you is not about that. My relationship with you is about my relationship with Source. And you're really pretty. You're really pretty, you're really smart, you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. In other words, have fun with this. You don't have to make long-term promises, but in the meantime, collect some data. And in other words, you're wanting to collect some data. What you want to say to people who are coming to you is, I'm trying to find myself, and maybe we could hang around together while I find myself. And finding myself means I want to see how much time I can spend with you, with all of the variety that you might introduce into the relationship with me, while I stay in alignment with Source energy. That's what I'm doing right now. And it is our promise to you that you'll not only find that alignment, but you'll find someone else who has exactly the same plan. Can you imagine two people coming together who are neither one holding each other hostage for the way the other one feels, tuning into Source energy and living happily ever after, or not, but living happily ever after, or not holding anybody responsible for how they feel but themselves? How refreshing is that, you see? And that's really what you came to us to say. It is.
It is. Yeah, it is. So because I study a lot of different platforms and et cetera, and I love your stuff. It's conversational. It's easy.
It's law-based.
Yes. How do you phrase this? Is our purpose to awaken in the human experience to the fact that we're connected to Source, or is a purpose here to play with that we are Source?
And what do you think is the distinction? Because awakening to the fact that you are Source is necessary before you play with Source.
Yes. I guess it's more of a, what is the meaning of life kind of a type of question.
The meaning of life is, I was alive before I came, and I wanted to come into this body because I knew that I would have more vivid, tangible, tactile experience with life. To be physically focused with all of its manifestational evidence is really the leading edge. It's the best. This is where all creation is. So to be in human form, and as you said, good words, consciously, deliberately aligned with that broader part, so that I'm constantly and deliberately tuning myself to that, so that the whole of me, or all that is available to me, which is more than we can even express, can flow through me in any point in time, so that my moments in this body, my focused moments, are rich and full and meaningful and incredibly satisfying. To be in a physical body in concert with source energy. So sometimes you're not in concert with source energy because you're exploring contrast, and out of that you are more defining about what you want. But then when you come back into concert with source energy and allow yourself to experience what you have defined, that's just as rich as it gets. Esther's been asking some serious questions, sort of like what you were posing here. She is asking us, Abraham, do we really need to continue to write books and hold seminars and have conversations, or aren't people just going to figure it out as they go along? And we say, certainly there is the potential of figuring it out as you go along, once you understand that your emotions are the key. But until you understand that emotions are the key, until you get that you're vibrational and that your emotions are your indicator of that, then you don't have any guidance that is consistent enough that you can really know what you're doing.
Emotions and feelings are the same thing in your words?
Close enough. The emotions, the way you feel, emotions, are your indicator between the vibration of your thought in this moment and the thought of that broader part of you that knows.
So if you're in a moment, you're in a situation, let's say you're part of a program, or you're taking this seminar or whatever, and you're in resistance to it, or anything about it. Let's say it challenges your religious beliefs or whatever we would make up about it. How do we know what's the difference between the emotion of that and the feeling of that?
Well, we would not try to make any distinction between the two, because what we mean when we say emotion, again, you have to start with the premise that you're vibrational, and so that an emotion is a literal physical translation of conflicted vibration.
Right.
It's introducing resistance into a vibration. So, for example, when you're feeling elation,
right,
there's no contradictory thought within you.
Right.
When you're angry,
right,
there's a contradictory thought. Contradictory meaning what the source within you thinks about this right now and what
right,
you're thinking about this right now aren't blending.
They're
but
off.
You have the free will to introduce it into the equation, so you get the benefit of feeling how your thought merges with the thought that you have really come to as the evolving, expanding, eternal being that you are. So the meaning of life, the true meaning of life is expansion, really. The true result of life is expansion. We've said for quite a while that the basis is freedom, because you're so free you can choose bondage. And the purpose of it has to be joy, because in seeking joy, then you're seeking alignment. And the result of that is outrageously delicious expansion, you say.
Can you be confused between your emotions and your feelings, like you're in a situation where, like, your belief system or your fears are holding you back?
If you don't isolate them, and examine them in a sort of steady way, you can, because as you move from thought to thought, your feelings shift.
Right.
And so the best way to subdue that confusion that we've noticed, that our human friends have discovered, is when you're feeling an emotion, especially the strong ones, if you'll stop in the middle of it and just say simply, let's say you're feeling a strong positive emotion. If you'll stop in the middle of it and say, we have agreement here. What my opinion and the opinion of source about this right here is saying. When you have strong negative emotion, stop and say, we have a disagreement. My opinion and the opinion of source are not the same. Who I have really come to and who I'm allowing myself to be right now are not the same. So it's interesting because that means that all agreements or disagreements are between you and you. They seem like they're about what that person wants or about what that person's doing, but they're just introducing a concept that you are having a reaction to.
Right.
And the reaction that most are having to what most are saying is, I'm not free to choose, and that's not true. But once you start exercising your freedom to choose, and you watch the powerful law of attraction bring you what you choose, and bring you what you choose, and bring you what you choose, and bring you what you choose, you begin to feel invincible. Not selfishly invincible, as if you are depriving others of what they want, but invincible in the sense that you understand your true point of attraction and the power of it. And the power of your point of attraction lies in the power of your ability to focus on what you want. And the power of your ability to focus upon what you want lies in your ability to feel the difference between what you want and what you don't want. In other words, you want love. You want love.
I do.
You want love. So when you think about focusing on someone and loving them, you want that love. When you focus on losing them, or you focus on them not staying,
right,
or you focus on them being distracted or not loving you back, now you're focused in a way that the source within you is never focused. And we can see how it could be confusing, but we promise you, once you get a handle on your emotions, you'll never be confused again. You won't be confused about what you're doing, and you won't be confused about what anybody else is doing. When you see somebody freaking out, you just know they're not in alignment with who they are, and they might even be justified in not being in alignment.
So this is the contradiction, like when you say the want, I want something, which is to me as I hear the inference of lack. I want that, therefore I'm not that.
That's semantics, and we understand that, and the word desire might be a better word applied to you. But the reason that we don't mind the word want is because we all will continue to be wanting.
Right.
There will always be more for us to move toward. And as you relax into that understanding, because it's the premise of all expansion, then it's good.
Yeah. So
Right.
create your vision of what you want, desire, and then sit in it as if you were already it, or the experiences are what you believe it will feel like.
Well said. Exactly right. But
So even though I'm not in a relationship, to be in a relationship in my mind with the person or how I would have it to be, or how I have her to be.
Well, this is something that we would give to you that's a little different from that. Certainly that works, and if you're really close to knowing what you want and feeling pretty good about it, then that just accentuates. In other words, the more specific you get, the faster the energy moves. So if you're feeling pretty good, being more specific helps you.